Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Connie Douglas from Great Stamping with Connie, and tonight we have Connie's Craft Along. Hopefully you saw my Facebook post at some point today and had a few minutes to cut some paper, some cardstock, some designer series paper, gather up a few supplies, and you're going to craft along with me tonight. So if you are joining me, give me a comment, let me know that you're here, and we'll just get ready to craft as soon as I can get. I have no little arrow on here to say it's live. It looks like it's live. Technology. But it's Friday night. Friday night for lots of people, people with Monday to Friday jobs. I have to work tomorrow at the ski hills, so it's not quite my Friday night yet. Tomorrow's my Friday night. Tomorrow night's the hubby's Friday night as well. We both work on Saturday, so Saturday night is our Friday. I saw some hearts. Who's here? Somebody let me know that you're here. Excuse me. Love the hearts, whoever it is. Thank you so much. Oh, Terry and Lorna. Wonderful. Thank you, ladies. You probably typed that several seconds ago. It just takes a little while to come through on my screen, I think, because I saw the love. I feel the love. So hopefully everyone is staying warm. Oh my goodness, it was cold on the hill today, I have to say. 2 of my lessons did not show, so I had 2 hours where I wasn't actually instructing. We do some laps. We help out with new skiers where needed and things, but on a day like today, that's not good. It gets really cold really fast. So fortunately, I had lunch after that. I went in and warmed up, and then I had lessons this afternoon, so that wasn't too bad. But it's supposed to get really cold overnight, and it's supposed to be colder tomorrow. But MSH brought me some toe warmers that he got at work, so I'm ready. I'm ready. I hope. Okay, so let's do some crafting. Hopefully some of you are crafting with me tonight. If you're crafting, snowing in Iowa, expecting 9 inches. Yes, they are talking about a good quantity of snow here as well, Terry. I think either Sunday night over to Monday, or I'm not sure. I haven't listened to the weather, but it's coming apparently. So yes, we will be ready. We had a little bit today, but Lorna's crafting. Oh, she's crafting already. Oh, how many cards have you made? And I haven't even told you what to do. Okay, good for you, Lorna. So for tonight, we need a standard card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We need a piece of cardstock that is 5 by 3 3/4. I put that an embossing folder was optional. I did emboss mine. I used the Hive embossing folder, Hive 3D. That's one of the new ones, and so it's got really deep embossing to it. This is actually the Hive side. This looks like honeycomb, if you can see that. And it goes with the Blessings of Home suite that has the bumblebee in the paper and in one of the stamp sets and stuff. But if you aren't doing that, you can flip it over, and then it's just sort of a pebbled look, so it just adds texture. So that's the one that I chose. Next, we need some designer series paper. So I have this little piece that just has some blue and some bumblebee and a little bit of pale papaya. Oh, you press pause. Don't ask me, Lorna. I don't know how that happened, but I'm glad we're back together. Sorry, this piece of designer series paper is 3 by 3. And then we have a second piece that is 1 by 4.5. And this is actually just the flip side of this piece. So those are the same and those are the same. And I'm going to take a moment to show you this designer series paper. This paper is from a new 6x6 pack from the new mini catalog, and it is called New Horizons, and it is incredibly interesting paper. It's very, very different. The artists were, I don't know, playing with ink or something when they created this. So there are some like this that are just sort of like ink, you know, spreading across the paper, or paint. I don't know how they created this, but anyway. But then there's oh, and then there's that same sort of look on the back of this piece. But there's lots like this that are very different. And this could be a horizon, and you could put things in the bottom, or things, or you can, I mean, you can cut it and change it. You can do it sideways. It can be anything you want, but it can also make marvelous scenery and some of those sorts of things. Again, just very abstract on the back, but pretty colors. Here's another one. And some of them are more scene oriented than others, but it would depend what you do with it, what you put with them to create it. This one, when I look at this, it could be mountains, but it almost looks like chalets, winter chalets or something along those lines. So depending how you used it, it would bring out that look. Here we have some meadow and some sky, perhaps. Again, this one could be scenery. And then this is just very, very abstract. That would make great pale background. Very similar to the piece that I'm using, where it's just some smears of color. But it is incredibly different paper from anything we've ever had. This obviously looks a lot like a meadow and hills and that sort of thing, some flowers in the front. So that was probably the intention here, but depending how you cut the paper, it could look like that, or it could look very different. So just Shelley Gardner and Sarah Douglas. Shelley's the co-founder of Stampin' Up, and Sarah is her daughter and the CEO now. And they played with this paper at our last Stampin' Up event on stage last fall. And so they showed some really interesting things, but there's some really great pictures in the catalog as well. And you know that very soon there will be lots of people posting pictures using this paper, and all sorts of creative ideas out there that people will be sharing. So this is the piece that we're using. This is the whole piece. And I cut my 3x3 from this section here. And then one last sort of scenery piece with marbled polished pink on the back. So that is that paper. It is 6x6, so you have lots of different patterns in it. You get 4 sheets of each one. So just something new and something different. There's some very different things in the catalog this time. So that's fantastic. Okay, moving on. We also have a piece of cardstock that is 1 inch by 3.5 inches. And then we have a piece of basic white or very vanilla, depending on your the colors of your designer series paper and stuff. I said a 2 to 2.25 inch circle or square or something for your image. The sizing is not terribly crucial. It can be a little smaller. It can be a little bigger, whatever works for what you think you're going to use for your image. And then a strip for a sentiment. And this one's longer than what I will need, but I will trim it after I do my stamping. And then, of course, some stamps and ink and your adhesive and paper snips, bone folders, and of course, some embellishments, maybe even some gems, perhaps. Okay, so let's get started. I should have a sample in front of me so I give proper instructions. Okay, so I guess we could certainly fold the card base to start. So we're going to give him a fold. As soon as we find our bone folder here, there we go. Okay. And then we will just set that aside because we are going to work on the rest of the pieces before we attach them to our card base. So So we have 3 pieces that we are going to work with next. So the 3x3 and the 1x4 1/4 and the 1x3 1/2. Okay. So on these 2 strips, we are going to cut some banner ends. So the little diamond or triangle out of the bottom. Couple easy ways to do that. There is or was a punch that will do banner ends for you, or if you have the tailored tag punch, because I don't have the banner ends punch, but I do have the tailored tag, and so you can just put your strip in here, and rather than, you know, going all the way down, or you could go down as far as you want, but you just want to get down so that it's showing. You get your peak in the middle. Try and make it about the same there, and give a punch, and then you have a banner end. Oops, it's a little hard to see, isn't it? There we go. So a banner end on our piece of paper, quick and easy. If you do not have the tailored tag punch, what I usually do is a little snip up at the middle of the cardstock, and then you come in from one corner to the middle and in from the other corner to the middle. And there again, you have a banner. Okay, so lots of ways to get a banner end on your strip of cardstock. You can do whatever you need to do depending on what supplies you have. But the tailored tag punch is wonderful for making banner ends. Okay, so then we are going to put our long strip of designer series paper is on the bottom, and we're going to have our square piece as our second layer, and then we're going to have this on the top. So you can go ahead and assemble those any way you want. I am going to assemble mine in just a moment. So if you want to see how I put them together, you can watch your screen. And if you don't want to see how I put them together, don't look at your screen for a moment until you decide how you want yours. Okay. So I am going to put some tape runner on the back of my designer series paper, and I'm going to go just so it hits about just a little past center. So I'm just going to run this along here. Okay. And then I am just going to put this down onto my back piece. Okay. And then my front strip, I am going to overlap like this. So just put some adhesive on here. And I'm going to put him on there, just like that. Okay, so now I have one block of pieces. Lorna, I know you're pretty quick, so you are probably already finished that, but give me a little thumbs up or an okay or something, so I know you're ready to move on. Is anybody else crafting tonight, or are the rest of you watching and visiting? Okay. Did we lose Lorna? Maybe she's busy crafting. Okay. So the next, oh, there we go, thumbs up, excellent. Okay. Donna's just watching. All righty, not a problem, Donna. Love to have you along. You don't have to craft. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put an image onto this circle or square or whatever you made. And it can, you know, flow over the edge or whatever you want. It's entirely up to you. I am wondering, okay, here is, I am going to use this awesome otters. Are they adorable or what? Hello, look at this little guy with a fish on his belly, and this one's just waiting to give you a big hug or tell you that you are utterly awesome. And this little guy splashing around in the water, they are to die for adorable. This is, yes, they are adorable, aren't they? So this is a celebration set that you can get for free with a $60 purchase from now until the end of February. You love those otters. Yes, I think a lot of people love these otters. I don't know, they may sell out early. We will see, but they are certainly available right now, and they are utterly awesome. So I am bringing in my cinnamon cider ink, and I'm going to use the little guy splashing around in the water for mine. And he's a little bit wider, but that's okay. He can just go off the edge of it. I'm going to stamp him kind of right in the middle there. There we go, splashing around. And so I know Terry has the otter stamp set, and she was making cards with it a couple times. She said, I looked up the color of otters and their browns and stuff and this and that, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's a whole lot of research, which I did not do. I'm going to take Terry's word for it. And I'm assuming they're kind of brown, but you know what, in card making, it doesn't really matter. They can be any color you want. But for tonight, since we have these sort of orange peachy kind of colors going on, we're going to sort of stick with that color palette. So I have brought in, there are some browns in here. These are my Stampin' blends. These are all the new skin tone Stampin' blends. So there's all sorts of skin tone colors, but sorry, I just need a piece of cardstock here to do a little testing on. Okay, so some of them are pinker than we want. We want some that are kind of in the brown family, I think. And because they don't have names on, they only have numbers. So the best way to know what you're getting is to just do a little color test on a piece of cardstock that you are going to color on, and then you can decide which colors you want to use. So I think that first one's darker than I want. And we're getting into some different tones. Oh, I like that. That's almost a cinnamon cider kind of look. So I think we will use him for sure. And this is sort of that's kind of an orangey brown as well. I'm going to bring in my card stock and things so that I can kind of decide which way I want to go with this stuff. Okay, I'm thinking maybe those last two will work. That's these two. We'll just try one more. I have no idea. I don't really know what what I'm after. I'm just coloring. So we're just going to use these two. And I just realized I should have grabbed some blue for his eyes. We'll give him some blue eyes. I shall return. Forgot about some of the extra colors. Probably need some blue for some of the water splashing too. Okay, so going to start with some coloring. So we're just going to give him, was this the light one? Yes, this is the lighter one. So, oh, I don't, okay. I'm just going to go ahead and color this guy. So you can certainly blend multiple colors. For this, I'm pretty much just going to use it to color him. Could use that dark guy maybe for his nose too, couldn't I? Yes, I could have even given him pink ears. Oh, so many details I could have colored, but but I'm not. So there we go. But we will give him a darker middle area here. Just going around the water. Hopefully I don't lose all of his face with this coloring. I probably should have practiced this, but yeah, I didn't do that either. You're getting me on the fly tonight, ladies. So I'm just going to give him a little darker nose here. There we go. That'll add in. You know what? Maybe I will draw some of that face stuff back in. What's he got? He's got kind of a almost like a cat kind of thing, but it's almost like a little smile because he's probably a happy little otter. There we go. We'll just give him a little more detail on his face again. Put some of that back in there. And then we'll give him some baby blues. How's that? Okay, what do we got for blues here? Light Night of Navy. What's that looking like? Sure, those are pretty blue eyes. Are they too blue? He's going to have very blue eyes. There we go. Actually, they're not too blue on there, but one's a little bigger than the other. So let's just even him out a little bit. And then I think maybe we will use some balmy blue. So that's the dark balmy blue there. And then somewhere I should have a light balmy blue. Here we go. That's a light balmy blue, and those will probably go just fine with my Misty Moonlight cardstock. So we can use those and it will all kind of coordinate. So I think I am just going to add a little bit of color through here. Kind of following along the lines that the stamp made, as opposed to coloring the whole thing, but I am going to color in all these splashes, and I'm using the dark one for this. Terry hasn't ordered these new blends, but she thinks she needs these new color tone blends. You know what? That was kind of what I figured. It's like, okay, so they're just more markers, more colors to add to the collection. I don't see a problem with that. So I ordered them. They are just out on pre-order for demonstrators right now, and they will be out for customers in February. And there's also a new stamp set and some dies. I have the stamp set. I didn't order the dies, but I will be making some samples from that to show you as well in the coming weeks. Okay, so there we have our little otter. He is just like, how cute is he, eh? Isn't he cute? Look at him. Hello there, little guy. He's a cutie. Okay, so we'll move some of that stuff away. The other thing we want to do is stamp our sentiment. So I am going to use a sentiment from this stamp set. I'm going to use this one that says it's birthday time. Sorry, a lot of glare on these stamp cases. So we'll make this into a birthday card. We'll just bring this in here and a stamp. And I'm not going to go right to the edge of my paper because I think I touched that down a little soon. We'll see what we get. Oh, no, look, it's okay. I can always trim some of that off if it's more than I want, but if I do it right at the edge, I can't add it. So did that. Okay, give this a little clean off. Yeah. And then we are ready to put the rest of this together. I'm just gonna move a few things out of the way because I'm kind of running out of space here. And I'm not going to trim my sentiment just yet until I kind of get it a little more put together, and then I can decide how long I want that strip. So this piece is going to go onto my background piece, and I am going to use my liquid glue. When you're attaching something to embossed paper, sometimes liquid glue works better, especially if the embossing is very deep. The tape runner tends to just catch the top surface, and sometimes that means you don't have a really good hold. Whereas if you're using the liquid glue, it kind of smushes into all the little crevices. So when I have embossed, especially deep embossed papers, I usually use my liquid glue for the next layer. So here we go. Just get that down on there. And then our little otter is going to go right in here. I wonder if I should put, I think I should maybe sponge around the border of that. There's a lot of light. There is absolutely some definition there, but there would be a little bit more if I maybe just added a dark, maybe a misty moonlight ring around the edge. So let me grab a sponge dauber. Okay. Misty moonlight. I just need to know what I did with the ink pad since I thought I was done with it. Oh, nope, there we go. Okay. So when I have captions on, I don't know whether anybody saw that. Misty Moonlight came up as Mrs. somebody or other, and I just happened to see it going by on the screen. It's like, who? Mrs. who? Anyway, okay, so a little ink on my sponge dauber, and I'm just going around on the edge here. I always tell people when you are sponging the edges of your cardstock, start very straight, because that is going to give you just a very narrow edging, and then you can always tilt it in if you want your edging to be thicker, but start pretty much perpendicular, and then you can lean in and make it thicker if you choose. Okay, there we go. And that's a great way to just add a little definition when you edge it like that. If you aren't adding another frame sort of layer, this will basically accomplish the same thing. So, okay, so I am going to use dimensionals to put this little guy on. Let's get them onto here. Oh. And now you can put this anywhere you like. I'm going to put it kind of right about there. There we go. And now set this over here. Now I can kind of see how long I want my sentiment. I think I'm going to take some of this off. It looks a little bit long. So I don't need quite that much. I'm just gonna snip off about half of it. And then I will just match it on this side. There we go. So let's see. I'll put it up about, I don't want to cover up too much of the water or anything. I'm going to put it towards the edge. I think what I'm going to do is attach this to my card base, because then I will be able to tell where I want my sentiment. So again, back to the liquid glue, because we have what's embossed on the front is embossed on the back. And we want the glue falling down in those crevices. It is cute, isn't it, Terry? I mean, how can you go wrong when you start with cute stamps? It's hard to mess up. And these little guys, they are certainly fun. So I just got these the other day, and this is actually the first time I've played with them. So and as much as I did make a couple other samples, well, no, I had one sample and then I made one more sample to share with you tonight. I didn't actually use this guy, so this is completely brand new. So now this sentiment I'm going to put on, and I'm going to put some of it onto the circle of the otter, and then the rest is going to be off the edge here. So I want this part to be flat, and I'm going to put a dimensional under this end so that it is even, okay? Because we have dimensionals on this circle. So if you put a dimensional on both ends, then you're, you can't see that tilt, but it would be tilted. Tilted, it would be tilted like this. Anyway, it wouldn't match. So when you've got something with a dimensional underneath, you want to only put a dimensional on the end of your next layer that is going on to something that's lower. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I don't think I explained it very well, but hopefully you know what I'm trying to say. So I've got a dimensional on the one end, and then I'm just going to put some liquid glue on this end. Spread that around a little bit. Okay. And then I will take this off. And when we put it on here, there we go, it will be flat and even. Okay. So I kind of got that lined up right with the edge of my embossed cardstock. That was almost a bit of a fluke, but I think it works. I think I like it like that. So, so that turned out in my favor. Okay, now, of course, the only other thing, you know, the best part, the gems. So I pulled out the 2020 to 2022 in color square gems. So I haven't used these for a while, and there's Misty Moonlight, so we could put that on there. Or we have some genial gems, which are the pale papaya. So it would match this strip of the designer series paper and the card base. This is Mango Melody, by the way. I don't think I told you what color that was, but and then of course we have all these other new gems that are floating around. There's the iridescent ones. They're kind of hard to see in there, aren't they? Okay, we have dark classic matte. I don't think that's what we're after. We're not after the brass butterflies. I don't think. That doesn't seem quite right. The faux sea gloss, probably not, since we've got blue tones, not green tones. So I think our choices are the genial gems or the in color square gems. Anybody have any thoughts? Any ideas, any opinions, any preferences? Hard to see on camera, isn't it? I know it is. There, that's a little bit better, I think. So there's the Misty Moonlight gems. They would coordinate well. And the genial gems are more like the pale papaya. Well, not more like, they are pale papaya. So be like that. So they would have to probably go on to the Misty Moonlight strip to show well. Okay, so Terry likes the square ones. I like the square ones. I like, they're different, aren't they? Square gems, but it all works. Okay, let's use some of those. Okay, where's my take your pick? So Donna likes the square ones too. Excellent, excellent. Okay. So we will plunk this guy. Yeah, I think we're going to go down here, down into this area, and then probably add some of these little ones as well. There we go. This stuff out of the way. And there we have our card. These little guys are so cute. I've seen them. I saw them in the catalog and I thought, yeah, they're cute. I should order them. But when you play with them, you see that they are truly really cute. So there's kind of an easy layout, a little bit different, not just everything layered up. Things are sort of off kilter, one side, the other side. So something just ever so slightly different. So the other samples that I have, this was one that I made obviously at Christmas time. So this has the snowman. Wow, how quickly we forget, eh? One of the snow sets, snowflake wishes, maybe. Anyway, there he is, and he was perfect for a round stamp because he's throwing up the snowballs in a sort of round circle. So this one was perfect for cutting out in a round way. So and these are gems that I colored with my Stampin' blends. So always fun. And then I have one more sample that, I kind of sort of lost, but I will tell you while I look for it. I will tell you that I used just the very beginnings of the Flowering Tulips stamp set. Again, this is a new one that I just got, and so I've only played with these 3 stamps. This is like a 2-step stamping, so it's the same image. One goes on top of the other to add depth and definition, and then I use that for the middle. There's dies that go with this that cut out and stuff, but I haven't played with them yet. And then I used a sentiment from the Special Moments stamp set, and this is a celebration item. This is one that is a double item, so you can get this with $120 purchase during a celebration, and this has 21 sentiments, so it covers a lot of stuff. It's got, some of your basics: happy birthday, big congratulations, thinking of you with sympathy, best wishes, but then it has some other great ones as well. Thanks for brightening up my day. I think you're wonderful. For someone who is wonderful in each and every way. I couldn't wait for a special occasion. How great is that? Like, just send someone a card, because you know what? When we get snail mail and we take it out of the mailbox and we see it, what do? We smile. It makes our day so much better. So just, send some snail mail to brighten someone's day and say, I couldn't wait for a special occasion. I just wanted to let you know I was thinking about you now. So great sentiments in that. And I used the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper. So this is the paper that coordinates with the tulip stamp set. It's all sorts of beautiful flowers, tulips, actually. So there is one piece. This is Highland Heather, Rich Razzleberry, fresh freesia, evening evergreen, lots of gorgeous colors in here. And then the backs are kind of, you know, just a blend of shades and colors and stuff. Huge tulip fields there. Here are some, oops, on the back of this guy, we have some greens with a bit of a grid pattern. Some painted tulips in Poppy Parade and Calypso Coral and white. And then almost could be clouds or something. If you were doing scrapbooking, this piece has lots of interesting looks for the back. So good for scrapbooking as well as card making. And then we have some polka dots in Poppy Parade. And again, look, more clouds. So this another sheet that could be good for scrapbooking. Here's some a whole field of oranges and yellows in the tulips, and similar colors on the back. And then this one is the marble mottled look on the back, and then on the front is just the huge tulip fields, tulips growing in rows and rows and rows. So don't know whether anyone's been to Holland and seen the tulips growing. I have not been in peak season when I was there, but there were absolutely tulips growing, and you see them in the fields, just, you know, like the way we see a cornfield or something. They're just like, they are everywhere. So anyway, here is the card that I made with those papers. So there's a piece of the one with all the little tulips growing in the fields, and there is the first piece with the rich razzleberry and Highland heather. So I used rich razzleberry and Highland heather here as well. Here is the stamp. You can see that I have done one in Highland heather and one in rich razzleberry right over top to give some extra definition. And then there is the sentiment from the Special Moments stamp set. This piece, which was cardstock in my instructions, for this card, I decided not to use cardstock, but I used mother of pearl paper. So during the kickoff, I showed you the mother of pearl specialty paper, all that. And I know there's glare, but there's also shine. So the glare of my lamp, put my hand over the lamp, maybe. That's not what the paper has, but the paper does have the shimmer in it. So there you can kind of see the shimmer. So this is lovely, and it does look like mother of pearl. So there we go. And then I added a few iridescent gems down here because I'm me. So so there we go. So there is the third card. So that is what we have for tonight. So I will post some of these, and then if you would like to share your card in the comments, I would love to see what you made. Always love to see what everyone else does with the crafting. Obviously, we all use different supplies. We have different favorite colors, different papers, all sorts of things. But go ahead and share it. Love to see what you have. So don't know whether anybody has any other questions or anything for tonight. But oh, thanks, Terry. I'm glad you like the cards. So a little different layout. I thought it was kind of neat. So, or maybe it's a little different for me. How is that? I tend to do, you know, a lot of sized layers, and so I always like to find something that's a little bit different, that's not sort of my standard go-to. And I thought this one fit that bill. So all righty, I will just pop this back up here. There we go. I'm back, and I will just say thank you to everyone for joining me this evening. I hope you like the card, and if you were just watching tonight, maybe you'll give it a try at some point. The picture with the sizes and the dimensions is on my Facebook page, so it will be there. You can always refer back to it, and yeah, go ahead and craft and have some fun. So thanks, Lorna. I'm always happy that that you join me. Love that you like to craft together, and I enjoy it when you're here. So glad you liked it. Love to have everyone along, and hope to see you, well, maybe as early as Monday, but certainly next Friday for Connie's Craft Along. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.